Dust, heat, and the metallic taste of Afghanistan hung in the air. Inside a small forward observation post, soldiers lounged in silence until one man's laughter cut through like a knife. Specialist Owen Ogre Miller stood in the doorway, a smirk crawling across his face. He pointed his half-eaten spoon toward the corner. "There," he said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Look at that." Bringing a toy to a real fight, all eyes turned. A young woman sat quietly cleaning her weapon. Her rifle, painted with a bright red foregrip, stood out like fire against the dull green around her. Some men laughed. Others just looked away. But she didn't even flinch. Private First Class Eleanor Vance kept working, her hands moving with calm, practiced rhythm. Click, wipe, lock, clean. To her, the rifle wasn't a decoration. It was precision, safety, and survival. But to them, it looked like a joke. The red was no fashion statement. It was a marker, a practical choice born from experience. In dense forests and chaotic battlegrounds, visibility saved lives. But here, in this dusty outpost of Helmand province, it made her an easy target for mockery. "Think that candy cane gun will scare the Taliban?" Miller sneered. The room erupted again. Eleanor didn't respond. Not a word. She simply adjusted the scope, her expression unreadable. She was different from them in every way. British, young, quiet, and most of all, a woman among men hardened by war. At just 24, she had traded a peaceful life in the rolling hills of Kent, England, for this unforgiving desert. Her dream once was to heal animals. Now she healed silence with bullets, her official role designated marksman. Her mission? Accuracy, not aggression. While others bragged about brute force and firefights, Eleanor was a ghost, patient, calm, deliberate. And in a place where loud men ruled the room, that silence made her invisible. Miller and his friends called her Sparrow, not with respect, but sarcasm. A fragile little bird among wolves. What they didn't know was that this sparrow had claws. Day after day, the taunts continued. "Don't fall asleep on guard duty, Sparrow," Miller joked one night. "Wouldn't want a butterfly to land on your pretty red toy." The laughter stung. But Eleanor never broke. She had learned long ago. Silence hurts them more than words ever could. At dinner, she sat alone. When she walked by, conversations went quiet. And once, when she reached for the last biscuit in the ration pack, Miller's hand grabbed it first. "Oops," he smirked. "Guess you gotta be faster than that. It wasn't about the biscuit. It was about belonging. And they were reminding her she didn't. During training, she outshot almost everyone. Still, they dismissed it. "Yeah, but can she hit anything that moves?" Miller scoffed, ignoring the fact that she already had. Once, during a simulated ambush, he deliberately withheld vital target info, getting her killed in the exercise. When she confronted him, he grinned. "Guess your magic red gun can't read minds, huh?" Eleanor bit her tongue. Arguing would only feed his ego. But that night, as she sat cleaning her rifle under a single dim bulb, a small patch on her bag caught the light. A raven perched on a compass rose, barely visible. Her secret insignia, not of a regular unit, but of a classified British reconnaissance team. The kind of unit no ordinary soldier ever joined. And then, one night, a call came through the radio. Chaotic, fast, in Dari, a language few understood. While others scrambled for a translator, Eleanor paused and translated the entire message herself. Her voice calm, precise. "Afghan patrol ambushed," she said. "Pinned down. Need air support immediately." The room went silent. No one asked how she knew the language. But for the first time, they looked at her differently. A flicker of respect. Quickly hidden, but it was there. Later, as she packed a resupply crate, something metallic caught the light in her locker. A silver medal, its ribbon deep crimson, the conspicuous gallantry cross, second only to the Victoria Cross, an honor for exceptional bravery in combat. Only one person saw it, Master Sergeant Davies. She stopped for a split second. Their eyes met, no words, just understanding that secret stayed between them. But secrets don't stay buried forever. And soon the truth about the girl with the red rifle would explode louder than any gunfire. Because one day, in the middle of chaos, that same rifle would silence every doubt. The sun hung low over Helmand, turning the sand into gold. But peace never lasted long here. The wind carried whispers, Enemy movement, rising tension, something coming. Everyone felt it. The air was thick, heavy, and uneasy. Then, without warning, boom, a deafening explosion tore through the silence. Incoming mortars screamed overhead. The ground shook, dust filled the air, and chaos swallowed the camp whole. "Take cover," someone yelled. Soldiers dove behind barriers, smoke, screams, dust, confusion. Eleanor didn't freeze. She moved. Through the chaos she saw him, Sergeant Jenkins lying in the open, clutching his leg. Blood poured like a dark river. He was hit bad. Medics couldn't reach him. And Miller, the loudest voice in the unit, stood frozen, eyes wide, fear written across his face. But Eleanor didn't hesitate. She ran. Bullets cracked the air around her. Chunks of dirt exploded near her boots. Still she sprinted, small, fast, unstoppable. Her red rifle bounced against her shoulder as she slid to Jenkins's side. "Stay with me," she shouted, already ripping open her med kit. Her hands worked like a machine, tourniquet, pressure. Bandage, every motion sharp, confident, controlled. "Hold still, Sergeant. You're not dying today," she said. Her voice didn't shake. Not once. Mortars kept landing close. A piece of shrapnel hissed past her head. She didn't even blink. By the time a medic reached them, Eleanor had already stabilized Jenkins, tourniquet tight, pulse steady. The medic just stared at her in disbelief. She reported like a professional. "Pressure's good. Blood loss controlled. He's stable for evac." And then, without waiting for thanks, she stood, grabbed her rifle, and ran toward the flank where enemy fire was thickest. Her red foregrip flashed in the sunlight. A streak of color against smoke and chaos. She took position, aimed, and fired. Each shot calm, deliberate, perfect. The others watched from cover, stunned. This wasn't the fragile sparrow they mocked. This was a soldier, a warrior who didn't need noise to prove strength. The attack ended after what felt like hours. Jenkins was alive because of her. The outpost was safe, because she held her ground, and for the first time silence filled the camp. Not with mockery, but with awe. Even Miller, still pale and shaken, didn't have a word to say. He had seen something today that rewrote everything he thought he knew about her. No one spoke of it, but whispers spread fast. "Did you see Vance out there?" She saved Jenkins herself. Didn't even blink when the mortars hit. The girl with the red rifle was no longer invisible. She was undeniable. That night, under the dim light of the mess tent, Eleanor sat alone, same as always. But this time the silence around her wasn't cold. It was respectful. Her hands trembled slightly as she cleaned her rifle. The adrenaline still hadn't left her system. She replayed the chaos in her mind, every shot, every scream, every heartbeat. And then she smiled faintly, not for glory, not for pride, but for the quiet satisfaction of doing her duty right. She glanced at her rifle's red grip, dusty, scratched, yet glowing softly under the lamp. A symbol once mocked, now a silent witness to courage. The next morning the camp buzzed again, this time not with laughter but curiosity. Something was different, and that difference had a name, Eleanor Vance. When she walked past, soldiers didn't look away. Some nodded. Some saluted quietly. Even Miller, the man who once mocked her daily, couldn't meet her eyes. Because deep down, he knew she had done what he couldn't. But destiny wasn't finished with her yet. Because in just a few days, a visitor would arrive. Someone who knew exactly who she was. Someone who would reveal the truth that would silence every doubt forever. The camp was still recovering from the mortar attack. The walls patched up. The sandbags reset. But something had changed forever. The silence that used to carry laughter and insults now carried respect, unspoken, heavy, real. Eleanor Vance went about her duties like always, quiet, focused, precise. No boasting, no drama. She didn't need applause, but word had spread fast. Everyone knew what she'd done. How she ran through hell to save Jenkins. How her calm had held the line. Even Miller had stopped his jokes. He kept his head down now. Sometimes she caught him glancing at her rifle, that red foregrip that once made him laugh. Now it made him remember. A few days later, a chopper landed without warning. Its blades whipped up clouds of dust and silence. Out stepped a tall figure in uniform, sharp, composed, eyes like steel. Colonel Samuel Thorne. A name everyone in the brigade knew. A man whose presence could make seasoned soldiers straighten their backs instantly. He wasn't supposed to be here. No one knew why he came. Inspections were rare this far out, but when he walked in, everyone felt it. Something important was about to happen. Colonel Thorne's gaze moved slowly, scanning the outpost. Every soldier, every weapon, every face. Then his eyes stopped on her, Private First Class Eleanor Vance, sitting by herself cleaning her rifle, the same red foregrip glowing under the sun. He stared. Something flickered across his face. Recognition. He walked closer, his boots crunching on gravel. The camp fell dead silent. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. "Private Vance," the colonel said, his voice low, commanding. Eleanor immediately stood at attention. "Sir." Thorne didn't speak for a moment. His eyes traced her face, the small scar above her left brow, the calm in her eyes. Then he smiled. "Just barely, Vance," he said slowly. "Or should I say, Sparrow?" The name hit the air like thunder. Every soldier nearby froze. Miller looked up sharply. That call sign, Sparrow, was the same word he used to mock her. But this time, the colonel spoke it with respect. "You've been quiet," Thorne said softly. "Maybe a little too quiet," he paused. Then his tone shifted, sharp, clear, echoing through the base. "By God, that's Sergeant Vance, from Helmand. Operation Raven's Watch. Conspicuous Gallantry Cross recipient." I thought that red grip looked familiar. The words hit like a bomb. Every soldier stopped moving. No one breathed. "Sergeant? Gallantry Cross? Raven's Watch?" It was like time itself froze. Miller's face went pale. His jaw dropped open. Memories flashed. The insignia on her bag, the foreign words she translated, the medal in her locker. It all made sense now. This woman they mocked, this rookie they ignored, was a decorated war hero, a veteran of one of the most secret, brutal operations in British military history. Colonel Thorne looked around the silent crowd. He could feel their shame hanging in the air. "Private Vance," he said firmly, "report to my command tent immediately." His voice carried respect, not just command. Eleanor nodded, calm as ever. "Sir," and as she turned to leave, something incredible happened. Specialist Miller, trembling, silent, straightened his back. He raised his hand, salute. The man who had mocked her was now honoring her. One by one, the others followed. A wave of salutes rippled through the camp. Some hesitant, some proud, but all real. Eleanor paused for a second. She didn't smile. She didn't cry. She just nodded, quiet acknowledgement. Then she walked on, her red rifle in hand, the same rifle they once laughed at, now glowing like a medal itself. That evening, the camp was different. The whispers were gone. In their place, only one truth remained. They hadn't just been serving beside an ordinary soldier. They had been serving beside a legend, but fate wasn't done testing her yet. Because soon, she would face the shot that would make her name echo across the desert forever. The desert slept under a pale orange sky. But for Eleanor Vance, there was no rest, only mission. A new threat had emerged. Intel confirmed. Enemy forces were preparing an ambush on a coalition resupply convoy. Dozens of lives were at stake. And the terrain was brutal steep ridges, narrow valleys, hidden enemy nests. They needed eyes in the sky, a steady hand, a perfect shot. Colonel Thorne didn't hesitate. He already knew who could pull it off. "Vance," he said, stepping into the tent, "you're up. You'll take overwatch." Eleanor's calm eyes met his. "Yes, sir." This time there was no doubt in anyone's mind. No laughter, no whispers. Only silence and trust. She packed her rifle, the same L29A1 with the red foregrip that once drew mockery. Now it was a badge of courage. Every part of that weapon had a story. Every scratch a scar. The target zone was 2,900 meters away, almost 3 kilometers. A distance where the air itself could bend the bullet's path. It was the kind of shot most soldiers only dreamed of making. But for Eleanor, it was just another quiet test. As dawn broke, she climbed the ridge. Her boots crunched softly over the rocky ground. Each breath of cold desert air steadied her pulse. She reached her perch, a crumbling ledge overlooking the valley where the convoy would pass. Below, Miller and his squad prepared the vehicles, securing the route. Eleanor watched through her scope, adjusting for wind, humidity, and mirage. The math was brutal. The margin for error, 0. But her focus was unshakable. The same soldiers who once doubted her now depended on her. Their lives rested on her finger. "Eagle's Nest to Sparrow," came the radio voice. "Targets confirmed. Two HUVTs leading the ambush. Copy that, she whispered. Wind east by 2. Distance locked. Her breathing slowed. Her heartbeat matched the rhythm of her trigger finger. Her world shrank to one crosshair. On my mark, the comms officer said. 1, she adjusted the scope. 2, her finger tightened. 3, one silent shot. A heartbeat of stillness and then chaos. In the enemy camp, the first target dropped instantly. Before anyone could react, a second shot sliced through the air, 900 meters. 2 confirmed kills. Perfect precision. Down in the valley, Miller's squad watched in disbelief. The ambush broke apart before it even began. The convoy rolled through untouched. Jesus, one soldier muttered. That was her... wasn't it? Miller just nodded slowly. No words, just pride. The same man who once mocked her red rifle now owed his life to it. Later that night, as the stars burned over the Afghan sky, Eleanor sat quietly outside her tent. Her rifle rested across her knees. The red grip, dusty, faded, still glowed faintly in the moonlight. Colonel Thorne approached, folding his arms. Textbook perfect, he said softly. 2,900 meters, clean, controlled, no wasted motion. Eleanor smiled just a little. Just another day, sir, he chuckled. You know, that red grip used to make you stand out. She looked down at it, thoughtful. Now, she said, it reminds me not to blend in. The days that followed changed everything. The outpost felt different now, calmer, prouder. The same soldiers who once ignored her now came to her for advice. They called her ma'am. Some even said sergeant again, half in awe. Miller was quiet the most. One afternoon he walked up to her while she cleaned her rifle. He hesitated, then said softly, "You saved my team that day." Eleanor didn't look up. "Just doing my job." But when she finally met his eyes, he saluted her, not out of guilt this time, but respect. In that dusty outpost, her story became legend. Not because of her rank or her medal, but because of how she carried herself when no one believed in her. She taught them something deeper, that courage doesn't always shout. Sometimes it speaks softly, steady hands, clear aim, unshakable heart.